Despite the unquestionable success of the A Quiet Place franchise, there have been precious few updates about the status of A Quiet Place Part 3. The most recent entry in the franchise, A Quiet Place, Day 1, acted as a standalone prequel to the timeline depicted in A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2, following, mostly, separate characters in a different setting. Together, the three A Quiet Place films have made just over $900 million at the box office, on a combined budget of just $145 million. With that level of profit, continuing the franchise feels like it would be a big priority for Paramount, especially given that the box office return has remained uncommonly consistent throughout the franchise's first three movies. It was reported that, after temporarily departing from the story of the Abbott family's battle against the sound-sensitive Death Angels for A Quiet Place, Day 1, the franchise would pick their story back up with A Quiet Place Part 3. However, there has been virtually no news about the threequel since its official announcement way back in 2022. A Quiet Place 3 is in development, but it doesn't appear to be a priority. The trilogy's conclusion is still moving forward. Franchise star Emily Blunt confirmed in 2021 that there were plans for a third, and presumed final, entry in the A Quiet Place franchise's primary narrative, and in February 2022 the movie was officially announced with a planned 2025 release date. Since then, there has been no significant news about the movie. In February 2024, it was noted the 2025 release date was removed. As it turns out, the reason for the delay is not because A Quiet Place Part 3 isn't in demand, but because the producers have a very specific vision for the movie, which includes John Krasinski as director. However, John Krasinski is in such high demand as a filmmaker and actor that it's become difficult for him to prioritize the final chapter in the Abbott story. The March 2025 update from producer Brad Fuller confirms that the movie is in fact in development, but it isn't a top priority for Krasinski. In the last year, he starred in the Apple TV Plus adventure movie Fountain of Youth, and is currently working on an untitled Jack Reacher movie for Amazon and Paramount along with the thriller series Silent River. Emily Blunt has said that she wouldn't return to the franchise with a different director, so as it stands it seems like A Quiet Place Part 3 is entirely subject to John Krasinski's schedule. A Quiet Place, Day 1 proved audiences still love this franchise. It was one of the biggest box office hits of 2024. Djimon Hounsou, Lupita Nyong'o, and Alex Wolff in A Quiet Place, Day 1. Despite technically earned the lowest box office return of the franchise, A Quiet Place, Day 1 was still a bona fide box office hit, proving that there is plenty of appetite for the franchise and its mysterious and deadly alien threat. It grossed $139 million domestically, making it the top horror movie at the US box office in 2024, and was a chart-topping streaming hit upon its release. There is clearly still interest, and while A Quiet Place, Day 1 was well received, it's reasonable to expect that the franchise's return to the Abbott family's story would yield even more audience interest. That interest in how their story ends also grows with each year that passes without news of the movie's production. When will A Quiet Place 3 actually happen? It seems likely that the Abbott story is eventually finished. A Quiet Place opening scene. Between projected audience interest and the box office returns for the entire franchise, it seems very likely that A Quiet Place Part 3 enters production at some point in the next 2 to 3 years. It seems unlikely that the studio would want to squander the interest that was rekindled by A Quiet Place, Day 1, so it should work its way up Krasinski's priority list soon. It remains to be seen if the conclusion to the Abbott's trilogy is the last word from the A Quiet Place franchise, but with that much box office success, it seems likely the studio will want to explore other corners of the world as it relates to the alien invasion. A Quiet Place Part 3 would most likely tee up the next progression in the franchise.